Right. Good afternoon. All right. So I'm told that you are all. This is your first day. All right. We are going to have a class in English. Is that fine? Anyone? Any problem with English? All right. Sure. Right. So I think we'll have to do something with the. Okay. Anyways. आप ये वाला क्लोज करके वो खोल देना दरवाजा. दिस इज ऑल्सो मूव अगेन. तो आई थिंक ये बंद करके वो उससे हो जाएगा, वो खोल दे. हाँ ठीक है. सो लेट्स कंटिन्यू विद इट. Our class, this paper, any idea what this paper is? No? That's okay. We are going to talk about a paper called cognitive psychology. Okay? The paper is called cognitive psychology. So there's two components, the cognitive and the psychology part. Just so that I have a baseline of who I'm interacting to, because this is my first time interacting with you as well, so that I have a baseline. How many of you, वहाँ से चलो वहाँ से. Okay. How many of you have had psychology in your class 12? Okay, a few of you have. All right. So for those who are not, who have not connected with psychology, cognitive psychology is a subfield of psychology, and this will talk about studies pertaining to human behavior and its relation with the cognitive processes, the processes that happens in the brain. All the mental processes, your thinking, decision making, problem solving, your various mental processes that direct your behavior, those all come under the cognitive aspect of psychology. Okay, so we're going to find out how these function, how they relate to our everyday behavioral experiences. Okay, and since this is your first day, let's get a hang of how you are going to study this paper. And as I'm told that other than the few of you here in the classroom, there are many others who will be learning from this, I suppose, the live feed, as well as you do have an option to have a doubts cleared, I think, during the weekdays also on an interactive platform, right? Okay. So most of the work that you do, most of this study is going to be from your side, right? We are only going to meet for a few Sundays. If permissible, if situation permits, maybe I will meet you every Sunday so that we can at least have a 1 unit or 2 unit covered, and then some other faculty might come in, or I might continue. We don't know that for sure right now. But as far as our interaction is concerned, what I understand is this is just going to be a doubt clearing session, a contact class where I clear your doubts, and it will be very different from how I teach in a regular class. In the regular class, from Monday to Friday, I'm involved in teaching, so most of interaction happens there. But for you, for us, I mean for this class, the Sunday is the only time. So with the exception of today, the next Sunday, I would want you to read and come so that doubts can be cleared. Because if I teach you from the starting of the syllabus to the end, it's practically impossible on these few Sundays that we're going to interact. Okay, so you'll have to do most of the legwork, and I can clear the doubts for you. All right. That aside, now that you understood it, I want to go through briefly the syllabus so that you know what all you're supposed to study, you know where all you're supposed to study from, and if you have a doubt, how do we tackle it. Okay. So this paper is for 4 credit in your entire curriculum. There are 3 units to it, and a practical will be involved. The practical component is going to be from unit 2 and unit 3. So when we conduct a practical for this paper, the concept that we will try to understand or that we try to analyze in the practical will come from either unit 2 or unit 3. Those concepts will be covered there. Okay. Let's look at Unit 1 first. Unit 1 is, okay, how many of you seen the syllabus though? No? You don't know where to look at the syllabus? Right. I guess that comes as a doubt clearing, like since you don't know where to look at it, right? I looked at the syllabus yesterday, so I can very safely and truthfully tell you that the syllabus is there on the website. So if you haven't looked at it, you are lacking behind. We expect you to look at the syllabus. Even for the regular classes that I have, when I meet the students for the first time, I expect that you at least know your syllabus. You should at least know what you're getting into, right? Right? So, after you go home today, Google, the syllabus is there, look at the syllabus and you'll have a better understanding of what you are getting into. Let me give you a brief about it though. For Introduction to Cognitive Psychology, we are going to talk about a brief history of how cognitive psychology as a subdiscipline came to be. Who were the various researchers, how they came upon this idea that, okay, this is a subdiscipline that we need to pursue, this could be elaborated, this could be understood separately than the rest. There are many other subdisciplines as well, like I'm sure in today, since this is your third class, you must have had biopsychology, you must have had another paper as well. So this would be the third paper, right? So every paper has their own way of understanding or presenting their constructs, their concepts. Cognitive psychology also grew in a similar fashion. Different researchers, different theories, they came up with ideas which clubbed together become a foundation of cognitive psychology. So we are going to talk about cognitive psychology, and in cognitive psychology we are going to basically talk about the various theories there are, the various researchers and their works that shape this particular discipline. Okay. Then we are going to talk about nature and research methods in cognitive psychology. In the nature and research methods, these are two different concepts. In nature, we are going to talk about what are the characteristics that make or that define cognitive psychology. Okay, as in the initial get-go, I told you that cognitive psychology has two components, the cognitive part and the psychology part. So we are going to talk about what are different characteristics that defines or that sort of clarifies what cognitive psychology is. Okay, we are going to talk about the different mental processes there are. Then research methods in cognitive psychology. In research methods, for every concept, regardless of whether this is psychology or, because you'll be studying GE as well, you'll be studying other papers as well. So every paper, when we come to some sort of theoretical formulation to understand a concept, we need to do research. Without research, we won't have the data that will help us to generalize constructs, generalize concepts. Like for example, let's say, all of you know something or the other about cooking, right? All of you know something or the other about reading, making notes, all right? How did you know about it? Some must have done some sort of hit and trial, tried this way, didn't work, tried the other way, or you asked someone, your parents told you, or someone else told you, okay, this is how it is supposed to be done. Okay, we are basically collecting information. Okay, in the academic world also, we do something similar in the way that we collect information as a way of doing research. Okay, we collect information. So even for cognitive psychology, when we are trying to understand how, let's say, sensation occurs, how perception occurs. Okay, in cognitive psychology, we are going to talk about how memory works, how problem solving happens, decision making happens. So it does not just come there, it does not just, the concept is not really out there that you can just go and collect it. You have to do research, you have to understand it, and during the formulation of these concepts, when they are starting fresh, many researchers come together, try to collect all sorts of information so that they can come to a general agreement or an understanding that, okay, this is how things function, this is how we're supposed to understand this, or this is how a process takes place. So researchers are important in every field. For cognitive psychology also, since we are mostly dealing with the cognitive aspect of it, the mental processes, we want to do research and we want to understand how things work, how things function. Okay? For example, let's say in terms of sensation. How does sensation work? This will be something a part of your unit 2. So I think we can take it as an example. So how does sensation work? You see everything around you. You have sense organs. Through your sense organs, you're sensing, in a way, literally speaking, these objects. So how does sensation work? How do you know that this is a, what is this? Marker. This could be this is a whiteboard marker. Some could say whiteboard marker, or this could say this is a marker by flare, as the name suggests. So there are many ways to looking at this. This is the interpretation part, the perception part. We'll come into that, okay? Let's talk about sensation first. So you said this is a marker. How do you know this is a marker? Okay, by experience is one, very good. Other than that? Suppose you can't see this. I'm holding it up. Let's say, for example, the room is very not well lit. It's dark, okay? I'm holding it, I'm saying, okay, what is this? You can't see it. Would you know this is a marker? You won't know, right? Because you can't see it. You're not sensing this object. So how does sensation occur? How does the cognitive process occur? You're trying to link it with why we need to do research. Okay? So sensation occurs when any stimulus in the environment through our sensory receptors, this information gets converted into electrical impulses which travels through our neural system, reaches the brain or the central nervous system. There we make sense of this. If we have previous knowledge, for example, someone said experience, we map it with the experience, see, okay, this matches the object that we already know of. So we're like, okay, this is a marker. If we don't have it, we could, even if this is something that you see for the first time, let's say, you have never seen this, you could say, okay, this says whiteboard marker flare. So you can also make sense out of it, even if you don't have a prior knowledge of this, something with something similar, if you already have a knowledge or a schema in your head, right? So all this happens, we get to know that this is how it works because many theorists have done research on sensation, how sensation occurs. This did not come on one day or by one person alone. Okay, the process that we just understood as sensation happened, is there in the book because many theorists studied this, did research on this, did a lot of hit and trial to understand why this happens. Okay, let's take another example of hit and trial. Suppose I dim down this light of the room. Let's say it's all blocked by curtain, there is no external light, we have only tube lights, okay? Now I have a regulator here, for example, and I dim down the light with the regulator. And this regulator can dim down the light from very bright to pitch dark because the curtains are closed. Okay? Imagine that. I'm dimming it down, it goes pitch dark. So you can't see anything, you can't even see me. You can hear me obviously, you can't see me. Then I start slowly increase the brightness of it. There would come a time when you start seeing this. Okay? And as I increase, you will start to see this more clearly. But there would be a time when I am regulating the light, whether it's going down or coming up, the brightness, there would be a time when you would just start seeing this. If I just go one notch below, you will not see this. If I just go one notch below, you will have a perception of that I'm holding a marker or a pen or something. Okay? So this particular point, we call it the threshold. Okay? This does not come like, someone wrote it and it's there. It has to be researched upon. How much of an illumination is required, what kind of distance is required. For example, this, if I keep it at the end of the building, you might not even see this. A distance also is there, right? So all of this understanding of how perception, I'm just giving you one example of how perception works, takes a lot of research. Okay, every field has that requirement. So similarly, in our cognitive psychology paper also, researches are very important to make us understand why things happen and how do we generalize it. Once we are able to generalize it, we can use it as a yardstick or as a baseline to understand other constructs. Okay, so that is why research are important. Then we will, in the unit 1, we will cover concepts, I mean in doubt clearing, we'll cover concepts based on paradigms or thought processes of various concepts in cognitive psychology, like for example information processing. How does information processing work? We in everyday life, in any given situation, any given point of time, we deal with a lot of information in life. Okay, information from outside, information from inside. For information from outside, you have, for example, the information coming through your visual senses, information that you're hearing, information that you feel, your tactile information that you can smell, that you can taste. All this information come to you and you start processing those information. Okay, there are depending upon how researchers have formulated their idea, there are many ways in which these informations get processed and this information get understood in our system. Okay, there are concepts like parallel processing of information, or where we believe that information gets processed in a central route as well as a peripheral route. So whenever there is a what do you call it, dissonance of stimulus, I'll give an example. There is an experiment. I am not sure whether this will be an experiment that you will conduct, but there is an experiment called Stroop test, STROOP. I think you write this name down so that when you go back, if you Google it or look at it on YouTube, you will understand, you will be able to understand better what I'm trying to say. Stroop test, STROOP. Okay, so you must have, I'm sure some of you must have done this on social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, something like that. Okay, nowadays things are filled up with those. So in Stroop test, what happens is a word will be written. A word will be written. Let's say a word is written white. Color of a, name of a color is written, but the word is colored in gray or yellow. Some of you have come across this, right? So the word is written, but the color in which the word is written is different. So we are trying to create inconsistency in this stimulus. Okay, if it is written in black and it's red black, consistent. If it is written in orange and the color itself is orange, it's easier for us to read. But if the color and the word does not match, it takes a little bit of time, microsecond, for us to process information. And we believe that it happens because different kinds of information get processed in different channels. This is what one paradigm will tell you. So there are various paradigms which tries to explain how we process information in our cognitive centers. Okay, we will talk about those informations. We'll talk about those paradigms in the classes. Then the second unit is about sensing and perceiving. Second unit is about sensing and perceiving. So, what are the 5 sense organs? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Okay, the ones that we are aware of. So, these 5 sense organs, in these 5 sense organs, we have what we call sensory receptors. Sensory receptors. So the role of these sensory receptors is to convert the stimulus around you into electrical impulses. Okay, and all our neural network uses the electrical impulses to transmit information from your surrounding to your central nervous system and back from the central nervous system to your motor nerves. Then you know, okay, if this is a pen, you're supposed to hold it like this. You don't hold a pen like this, right? You know, and your brain tells you, okay, hold it like this, put your finger here and hold it like this. That's how you write. And if you're drawing something or, just swinging your hand, if you want to swing your hand like this, your brain tells you, okay, this is how you swing your hand. Your motor nerves get information from the brain. If you want to swing it and it goes like this, then there's a problem. Okay, so all the information gets controlled or gets transmitted from the brain using electrical impulses that transmits through the neurons. Now, talking about sensation, what do you see here? Whiteboard? Okay. You see the color white, you see a board, so you're saying it's a white board, right? But is this actually white? Is this actually white? How do you define white? Could it be possible that in the front you see a color, but when you go at the back, you might see a little shift in the color? Could it be possible? Yes? Or this will remain constant? Maybe? Okay. As you go farther, because of what we call atmospheric attenuation, because there are dust particles around, okay, so this could change in color. For example, if you look very closely, you will see even small grains of how this surface is made. But if you look at from far, this becomes very smooth. Okay, you're not able to see those. So the object is the same, but because of distance, you start registering different input. Okay, we're just talking about one sense organ, not the rest, just for the visual sense organs. So our visual sense organs, the sensory receptors there, it registers this information, but depending upon how much we are able to register, this information gets interpreted differently. Okay, when this information comes to the brain will try to perceive it, interpret it. Okay, in whatever way we understand. So some could say, oh, this is just a board. Some could say, if they have information, this is just a whiteboard. So it could differ also in terms of interpretation. But the starting of it is through the sensation. Our sense organs, our sensory receptors, the cells, they get the information there from the environment. Then they convert those information into electrical impulses. Okay, this is what I usually do in my classroom as well, so that you just after going out, you don't just be like, okay, let me forget this, I'm done, I'll go my way. So that you at least have a connection. Today, not right now, today when you go back home, find out the term, one word term, okay? It starts with T. I'm telling you this because when you find it out, you will know that you have got the right word. It starts with T. This term is about a process where your external stimulus is converted into electrical impulses by sensory receptors. So there's a one word term for this. Starts with T. I'm giving you T because when you find it, you know, oh, this is the right word. Okay? Starts with T, one word, one term. The process that this term denotes is when you convert your stimulus from around you into electrical impulses. There's one particular word. And I'm not telling you this deliberately because I want you to look at it, at least then you will recall we did a class back at home. Okay? It will keep you active. Otherwise, some might just forget it after leaving the class. Okay? Find it out. All right. Okay. Then we will return. All right. Then we will talk about approaches to perception. Perception, there are basically two ways. I'm not going into detail of it because I'm just discussing the syllabus now. But as you read through it, you will understand, and we will have a doubt clearing session as well if you don't get it. So there are two approaches to perception: top-down perception and a bottom-up approach and a top-down approach. Okay. Before that, how does perception occur? We understood sensation, the process where your sensory receptors collect information from outside the stimulus, converts it, the conversion part is what you're looking for, converts it into electrical impulses. These electrical impulses gets transmitted from your sense organs to your central nervous system. Okay? In the central nervous system, you interpret this information, make sense of it. This is where perception is. You perceive. If the brain is not there, if it doesn't reach the brain, it is just sensation. Okay? Only when it gives meaning, when your brain gives meaning to the information, it turns into perception. So, For someone, if I say, okay, you take one of your friends, close your eyes, you turn them around, and then carry them somewhere and make them touch any object, they might not be able to perceive the object. They would sense the object because tactile sensation is there, but they will not be able to interpret it because the brain has no idea what this is. They will just touch it, they know you have touched something. But it could be just like for example, this board, this is plastic in nature, you can feel it, okay? It could even be a body of a car also. How do you know? This could feel the same, right? Or it could be just another board on the wall. So you don't know it. So perception occurs only when you have more information to give meaning to it. For you, for this one, with the eyes closed, this is just a board or anything plastic in nature, flat plasticky thing. You might not even know that this is white or black if your eyes are closed. So whatever interpretation or meaning you give to the sensation is perception. Perception could be wrong, could be right, depending upon what information you have. Okay, what you perceive may not be the same as what the other person perceives, because perception also differs by how you interpret the information. So if you interpret even one standard information in a different way, your perception of it would change. Okay, and perception, as I said, has two approaches to it: the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. The one of this approach, okay, good point. Another thing for you to not lose track of what we're studying. I'll tell you how these two processes, the top and the bottom down, function. Then you differentiate which one is which. Okay? So in one of the approaches, you build up with the basics. Okay, you sense something, and from there, from the elements, you try to build up what you're perceiving. Okay, from just the basic blocks, nothing, no external, no past experience or no previous experience required. In the other approach, either the top or the bottom down, in the other approach, you start with an already existing knowledge, and then you break it down and you perceive something. So one of them is top-down approach, and the other is bottom-up approach. Okay? And why I'm giving you this? Bottom up and top down. Top down and bottom up. Okay, two approaches. One starts from the basics, the very elements of it, and you build your perception. Okay? The other starts with an existing knowledge, and there you break down your and understand your perception. I'm keeping this ambiguous because after this you have a break, right? Right, good time. After this, when you are in the break, this 5 minutes, just look at top down and bottom up and see which one was top down, which one is bottom up. That will keep your brain occupied and you will be able to connect with it. Otherwise, you will forget as soon as you go out from there. Okay? Yeah. Right. Okay. In perception, the first unit is mostly going to be theoretical in nature. Okay, it might just get a little monotonous as well. The second unit is quite experiential, and you would have examples which are very interesting. For example, I'm just giving you an example. You will be covering this in your what you call SLM, the learning modules, right? What do you see? Triangle? What else? Okay. What do you see? Circle? Okay. What else? Dotted circle. Do you know what's the define of a circle? A definition of a circle. How do you define a circle? Anyone did maths? No? 10 तक तो क्या होगा maths? हाँ. Yeah? 360 degree. Okay. What else? Compare this, okay, compare this with this. Look at me draw. Look at me draw. You show me drawing this, right? Look at me draw this. Which one is a circle? Or both of them are circles? Circle is a closed figure. This is also a closed figure. But that's not a circle. Corners. Okay. Right. There are some characteristics which help us define what a circle is. Okay. The basic is it's a closed line. A line with a radius. A circle has a radius, right? By definition. So it's a line that goes with the end of the radius fixed at the center. An alternate way of defining circle is that it has got infinite number of dots. We say that the circumference of circle has got infinite number of dots. That's another way to define circle, isn't it? For example, here you also have a triangle. These are also three vertices. This one, and this one, because it is not joined, they are disjoint. Okay. So in perception, much like how, as I said, depending upon your awareness, depending upon your previous knowledge, depending upon how you want to see objects, you start believing that you're seeing something which might not even be there. There is no triangle here. These are just three corners, but some of you saw triangles. Okay, so perception can differ from person to person. Perception can differ depending upon how things are placed. For example, another idea of, tell me what you see here, okay? What does XO mean? When you write a letter, have you ever seen XO, XO, XO? What does it mean? Hugs and kisses, right? They go together, right? Yeah. What do you see in this? Tell me, what do you see? XO, XO? Tell me, what do you see? Tell me separately. Anyone? Anything? You see anything different? Huh? Multiply the sign and circle. X, 0. Multiplication 0. Okay. What else do you see? Do you see these is one column of X, one column of O, so zeros, another column and another column? Okay. So when we talk about perception in Unit 2, when you read about it, you will come across some perceptual constancies or some ways in which we perceive objects, like concepts with similar structure, we tend to perceive them as together. Okay, so it's easier for us to perceive X's O column, X column, O column, not XO, XO. Okay. For example, right now, if you do this, X, O, X, X, O, X. What do you see? What do you see here? Repeating pattern, okay. What else? Tell me, what do you see? What do you perceive? That's the right question to ask. What do you think you are seeing here?
We also see ox.
Ox. Okay. Why are we seeing this? Because they are close together from with respect to this. So objects which are placed together, proximity, placed together, closely together, are also seen as objects in a together form or a common object, right? For example, all of you are sitting here, but we see a row, second row, third row, because you are placed together. So there are various principles that you will learn in perception principles of perception, where we talk about principles of similarity, or for example, okay. What do you see? What do you see in this picture? Yes? Cross, okay. So you basically see this and this, right? But you know how I drew it? You all saw me draw it, right? I drew this one and I drew this one. Why do we see this at the first? If someone gives you this, even if they drew it like this, you will see this. Why? This is called continuity. We want to see things in a way that we feel they are continuous, that they follow some sort of pattern. So this is a continuity, a line. You don't really expect the line to just stop here and bend. We expect a continuity. So we tend to see things as continuous. Okay? In advertisement, for example, in using the application of psychology, perception and all those, in advertisement, when you are, say, shopping, Amazon, Myntra, whatever, after you have searched for something, you will see suggested items. Okay, people bought this, you also buy this. They are there because, number one, they are similar to what you have done, so it's very natural for you to accept, okay, this is in line. And they are also continuous. They will have a continuity also. Okay, these are all clothes, or these are all computer items. So there will be a continuity. These are used to especially, or basically, let's say, create a perception in you on what comes next. And we usually want to know what comes next, right? That's why we have sequel and prequel and all those in stories. We are very interested in what comes next. That's how you get sold. Okay? That's how you use perception in your daily lives as well. Okay? We will talk about different ways in which perception occurs, as in our brain functions to perceive an element or an object in the environment. Then we have attention. The next sub-part of Unit 2 that you will cover in your studies is attention. Does it happen that sometimes you forget that the fan is on? You really don't hear it. Right? Sometimes you really don't hear the fan. Because, number one, it could be because you are habituated to, okay, fan is there, you don't really care about it, it's there. Or you are not paying attention, so another construct is called inattentional blindness. Because you are not paying attention, you are blind to the object. It's there. Once you pay attention, it will come out. Otherwise, it's just there, you don't really pay attention to it. So in attention also, this is just one example, okay? I'm just trying to make things interesting so that you start looking forward to studying the paper. So in attention also, we'll talk about various theories of attention, why things occur, how do we pay attention, what happens when we don't pay attention, okay? What could be some of the errors we commit because of inattention. These are some of the theories you will learn and the practical aspect of it, okay? Unit 3 is about thinking, problem solving and decision making. Thinking, problem solving and decision making. Not everyone thinks in the same fashion. Some think in a, let's say, in a very rational way, some go with shortcuts. We call it heuristics. In the psychological concept, we call it heuristics, available heuristics, something that we use as a shortcut, okay? And heuristics are generally used during problem solving and decision making. Sometimes we don't want to go the long way, so we apply a shortcut, like in maths. Many people do shortcut, right, in maths, right? So mentally, cognitively, we use various shortcuts to make everyday decisions or to solve everyday problems. There could be problems with shortcuts. There could be I'm sure you must have realized it, not all shortcuts works in the similar fashion. Okay, so these are some of the cognitive processes that we employ in our day-to-day life. Okay, and we will learn about this through theories, their applications, and some examples as well. Okay, so this 3 unit is what you're going to study, understand, and come back on Sunday to clear doubts if you have. These contact classes are for the doubt clearing. I'm sure you have your doubt clearing on the weekdays as well. Yeah, you can do those, or in here you will meet a teacher, a faculty present here physically, which will help you clear your doubts. For that to happen, you need to come prepared. You need to come prepared with your doubts. And for that to happen, you need to study. Do your own reading. Otherwise, doubts will not come up. Okay? I will try, as I said in the starting, I will try to be here for you every Sunday in the 3rd class. But if another faculty comes in, you can always clear it out from them as well. Okay? Now, what is the status of the attendances, the page that was floated? Where is it? Is it done? Is it coming upward or going back? You have one and you have one. How is that working out? Is it blank? That cannot be possible. You don't have that much of a number. They are for different classes. Okay. Whose class is that for? The one that you have. Okay. Meanwhile, when you are going through the attendance, in today's class, if you have any questions from today's class, now is your time to ask. Any doubt, anything? No doubt, all clear? This class is useless because every doubt is cleared. Yes, please. Any doubt, anything you don't understand? Now is the time. And as I said, this will be just today's an orientation. The next class will focus mostly on what doubts do you have. It will not be possible for the faculty, either me or someone else, to be here and tell you from 1 unit to 2nd unit to 3rd unit in a go, because we don't have that luxury of time. We are meeting only on a few Sundays. So you need to come up with your doubts. Without that, this process will not work. Study. Okay. As I'm told, your SLM, you call it, right? Learning material. It has gone for print and will be available soon. But meanwhile, what I heard is that you will be getting your soft copy so that you can start studying it. The one that has gone for print. Okay. Okay. One more thing. Since most of you did not look at the syllabus, another information that I think will be helpful to you is that when you look at the syllabus today, when you go back home, there are 5 books that you need to, that was basically referred to for the creation of your syllabus, the one that you're going to study, the SLMs, okay? These 5 books, if you can get a hold of them, even if 1 or 2, you can get it issued from the library as well. If you get a hold of them, you will be able to understand better the concepts that we study, that we are discussing in the class, okay? Out of these, one book authored by Sternberg and Sternberg is a good book. It covers almost, I think, 40 to 50% of the syllabus. Yeah, sure. The book name is the same as your paper. Cognitive Psychology, okay? The authors, Sternberg and Sternberg. This is a very basic book, and most of the concepts that you will study in the syllabus, you'll find it referenced here about 40 to 50% of it. Okay. There's another book that you can refer to. It is authored by, I'm not sure it's double T or single T. Double T. Galotti. G-A-L-O-T-T-I. That's the author of the book on cognitive psychology. So these two books combined, I think it will give you a very good idea about what you are going to study. Your SLM is there nonetheless. You can go through SLM. This will give you extra examples and extra studies to help supplement your SLM. Okay? These books are available on the library, so you can get it from the library as well. Yes? Attendance sheet आया नहीं अभी? You guys came in late. तो skip कैसे हो गया? Attendance sheet हो गया वहाँ पे? आगे आ रहा है. I'll pass it to you. Okay? Right. Yes, please. Any doubt, anything, question before we wind up? 5 minutes to go. No? All right. Fine. Then I'll see you in the next class. Yes. Okay. ठीक है. Let's get attendance done. Then you can go out one by one. Okay? Thank you. नो द SLM आएगा जो आएगा उसमें सारे किताब है लेकिन जो SLM बना है ना वो यहाँ से उठा के बना है सो दिस विल हेल्प यू गेट इनटू मोर ऑफ द क्लासेस ओके सो दिस आर जस्ट रेफरेंस बुक्स सो योर SLM इज द मेन रीडिंग फाइन yes Halley symptom
May I have your number as well?
I think the number will get shared in a WhatsApp group एक साथ you all will have a WhatsApp group
WhatsApp group?
that Nupur is getting in आ जाएगा उसमें ठीक